All right, all right. So yeah, let's get this started. Let's get this started. One of our first podcasts.
All right, so I think a proper start to the discussion um, could be about um, be about a lot of things. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at the moment. Like, there's a lot of things we can talk about. What do you think? Sorry.
That's good. Um, yeah, I mean, you expressed to me the other day that you wanted to talk about some of these ancient buildings
Oh yeah.
and
Ancient tech.
context of the technology.
All right. So starting our conversation, we will delve into the deep esoteric mysteries of the grand human story, which is the greatest historical tale, which is the truest historical tale. There is much technological significance to great grand structures such as this. Take a look.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect. Make sure you keep your connection. It's going well right now, but yeah, that's beautiful. So
So,
we were talking about Constantine Mail's theory on what he thought these structures were for and why they were built as such.
yes, I am in the Grand Blue Mosque in modern day Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, and the place known as Byzantium. There's so much layered history here, powerful history of the greatest empires, the greatest men to have ever exist on Earth, right? To ever lead, and manage many peoples and manage huge workforces and create, control and produce so much for many people.
Hmm.
And they built a lot. So when you visit these historical places, now modern day Istanbul, but formerly the capital of many great nations, when you visit these places, you can find many ruins of very grand structures, very grand structures that are so grand. Um, some people almost dissociate like for how grand they are. Like there's a dissociative kind of block that people marvel at it, but to understand the sheer scale of um, stone construction takes a key alchemical mind's eye to be opened in order to completely, swallow the big gulp of just like of just understanding what it means, how it was built. And I believe that there's huge technological significance to a lot of these very ancient stone structures. And the older that things get, it seems that the grander that they get, right? And when you think about energy transmutation, alchemical principles of energy transmutation, stone is a powerful alchemical material that, when used and directed correctly, like when used correctly, um, when built with technological means of significance, you can channel and direct a lot of energy for means of great potential.
Yes, yes. I have this book right here, Constantine Mail, The Broadcasting of the Gods. And basically, in the book, to summarize, he talks about how all the ancient temples of old, the mosques, the Greek temples,
Are you an architect?
even some of the
Architect?
Roman,
Yes, yes.
huge Roman buildings.
I am too.
Oh, thank you.
Architect too.
So I'm speaking with an architect, actually. My friend is also he's a scientist. And we're describing the principles of construction.
Okay. Okay.
This is actually a podcast that we do, like
Okay. It's direct.
exploring different ancient structures and things. Yes,
Okay.
this is direct. Yes.
Hello,
Okay.
how are you?
Hi. I am Muslim. I'm architect and interior designer from
Oh, well,
Algeria.
s-
Yeah.
we were
I
just
was
talking about how
I
this.
was discovering the mosque, and I was listening to him describing, and directly I know that he is an architect. I came here to ask him to describe the monument. It's the most famous mosque in the world. It's how can I explain? It's very beautiful, very spiritual, very big. The arcs, the lamps, the lights, the red carpets.
Mhm.
That we pray for. We pray here. We put our face and hands and on the floor, on the carpets, to connect with our God.
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah.
So the procedure. We have to clean and in the bathroom
Yes. Yes.
before came here.
Yes.
We have five prayers a day.
Mhm.
So we came here and we separate women's from men's.
Mhm.
This is it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
and it's very beautiful. I believe it is most proper to be clean and taken care of before you go to a place of worship. If you are devoted to, the greatest version of yourself, right? The prayer to, the greatest sense of existing on this earth, you must be at your purest. So I wash my hands, I wash my face coming in here. That is a custom. And that is what allows for us to be clean and grounded on this mat. And in a stone building such as this, the marble columns,
Marble, yeah.
the marble and granite uh, structural foundation and walls all concentrate the energy of the temple so that you yourself kind of can be grounded to the structural integrity of the mass of this stonework. And
ground.
when stone touches stone, it channels energy. When stone touches stone, it channels energy.
Yeah.
And when there's high concentrations of energy, then when you connect with it, you can feel it. You can feel it in your bones.
By the way, in architecture in general, if you want building with sensation, you have to build and with real construction. For example, marble, stone,
Yeah, real materials.
real materials.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For example, the how do we say
Wood,
woods?
marble, wood,
Woods. Yeah, yeah.
granite.
Yeah, woods. It's coming from the nature.
Yes, yes.
Marble too. So when we connect it, we feel the sensation. So synthetic, it's not real. So this is it.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
grounding.
Using real materials are using real materials in construction allow for us to build the most quality of construction. Because if you use fake materials, very nice to meet you.
With me, your Instagram or something like that. No, enter now right now.
Yes, yes, I will share with you.
Okay.
Um,
So you can't leave the. Okay.
just one moment. I'll just type this in. Just one moment.
about your
This is pretty cool.
Instagram. Where are you from?
I'm from United States, from Hawaii.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's very nice. Hawaii is beautiful.
Tropical.
Yes, yes.
With
Tropical.
palms. Oh my God.
Surfing, beaches.
Sea, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna share my friend's Instagram because he's a little more active on there. Would that be fun?
Of course. Yeah, that'd be great.
What is yours? Jacob Foley, Jake Fast.
I think it's Jacob David Foley. Fuck you, man. Let me check.
But yeah, natural materials will last the longest.
Yeah,
And a lot of
it's
these
Jacob
synthetically
David Foley.
produced materials. Jacob David Foley.
Yeah.
All
Lowercase,
one
no
word.
space. Yeah, no.
Did you see the maquette of the mosque? Did you see it?
Oh, the model here? I briefly looked. Let me see. Jacob David Foley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
So here, I wonder if I can flip the camera around. Oh yeah, I can. So you can. This is my friend's Instagram. You can get in contact with him directly. And from there, like, I can share with you my number for WhatsApp if you want to talk about architecture. I'll just give you my direct number.
Okay.
So this is the model here. I'll explain more in detail after I type in my contact details.
That's incredible. It's a huge building. Huge complex.
So that's +1 area code for United States, and then 808-765-9065.
Sorry, nice to say we do 20 and
Oh, okay.
then what?
Do you have WhatsApp? WhatsApp? Do you have?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
I'll connect.
Connected.
But you're not connected to internet?
You say can.
Yeah. I'll.
I don't know. This might be Mecca.
Can you find United States in there? Just +1. Oh yeah, right there. Okay. All right, this is me.
Thank you.
So you can just save that.
Okay.
Send me a message.
Yeah. Thank you. Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks. Very nice to meet
So
you.
much. Nice to meet you.
Well,
She just came
she
out
was
of
very
nowhere.
nice. She's just very nice and respectful, and she's a has a career in architecture clearly, and she appreciates quality construction. She appreciates the conversation about quality construction.
But you know, to talk about the construction in the context of what effect it has on our biology. You know, the columns are directing the energy down into the ground, and in the context of electromagnetic fields, which is pertinent to our biologies, it has like a grounding system. And if everyone who works with electromagnetic fields, Tesla coil, stuff like that, knows that in order for you to really reap the best rewards, you need to ground the system. And because we are an electromagnetic field, we have a magnetic aura. It's also important for us to utilize that. So I find that very interesting. And I think that the ancients were very knowledgeable and very wise in building in these ways that creates the best kind of environment for us. And Constantine Mail, before she came, I was talking about this, and he takes it a step further. He says in this book, The Broadcasting of the Gods, that these temples were used for basically communication throughout the ether hundreds of miles, and these buildings, these ancient temples, these ancient mosques would resonate certain frequencies to communicate with each other. So, and that was what they called the gods, to gain communion with the gods, to gain communication from the gods. They would have these, they would build these temples that would resonate a certain frequency. Uh-oh. Yo, I think you're muted. Yeah, okay.
I'm here. There was just a lot of sound on the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
So on that note, when you understand just the basic principles of technological significance to stone construction, right? Just basic stone construction. When you channel energy by way of conduction or containment, you can direct energy in a certain way, right? You can direct and transduce energy when it is channeled, right, or contained, right? So through material mediums, we are able to um, conduct, channel, contain, and direct energy. So if you understand that basic principle, then you know that in a place like this, where you have marble columns that are about almost 20 feet wide in diameter. What is this? Probably like at least 15 to 20 feet in diameter,
Yeah.
coming all the way up here, and with perfect geometrical precision, it's positioned equilaterally to another column, and another column, and it's precision geometrically perfect to the centermost dome, the ceiling dome,
Yeah.
and atop the ceiling dome, there is a conductive spire shooting straight up to the sky. Now, this is pretty common in a lot of ancient construction that you see. You see massive columns positioned geometrically perfect to one another, and they they all meet at a center point, and the center point shoots up to the sky with a conductive spire atop the building.
Yeah, almost like an electrode in a Tesla coil, right? You have this area of more elevated matter that is able to direct that energy upwards and outwards, which is the same concept that we see in these obelisks, in these pyramids, in these countless examples that we have in this ancient. And Tesla himself, a real genius, believed that the pyramids was a wireless free energy device. So these ancient buildings certainly do, in my opinion, and in Tesla's opinion, have a very, very unique purpose. And what that purpose is unknown to a lot of people in the modern world. But I believe in order to further humanity, we should find out what exactly they were for. Yeah, bro. We we need to find out really the secrets of the ancients. And it's a long and hard process, but it's certainly something that I'm constantly striving towards. I know it's something you always like to talk about, which is one of the greatest topics of conversation that we always had, was the significance of the ancient world, the buildings, the people, the genetics, even the alien genetics.
Yes. It's a powerful topic of discussion, and that's why at the start of our conversation, it's kind of like, where do we start? But you can really start, at any point of interest, whether it be history, science,
That's all
yeah,
connected.
just genetics or physical law. the more you understand one fascinating topic, it's integral to all other topics, and you just start learning about the grandest story that we have ever known,
Right.
which
Right.
is just
Yes.
the story, of
Yeah.
humanity,
Yeah.
and it's it's
Well
it's
said.
riddled with mysteries, um, just grand tales of heroes and villains, and some parts are almost just spine chilling to even talk about because of how gruesome and real it is, and some parts of the story bring you to tears for how great such victory is, right? And
Yeah.
there's stories and stories and stories, and they build upon one another, and you continue to live in the story, which is history, which is the continuation of the grandest story, which is you living here now. So it is an illusion that you are separate from such history. The greatest illusion is that, you know, any notion of a true great story is fake or has no meaning and has no significance or relation to you. Because then if you sever the connection between, the grandest story, which is real, and if you sever that connection between you and that grandest story, then there's a disconnect and you never understand the grandest story. You never understand your story, right? As you live here now in the present time, and you don't know where it's leading. Okay.
Exactly.
But to understand that connection, then you start to transcend any boundaries of time and limitation. You start to live and know the past, present, and the future.
Yeah. It's important to contextualize history, and history is God's story, because what history is basically a collection of people living throughout generations, and all these people have that divine spark inside of them, that Holy Spirit, that their soul, and we're all connected to God. Therefore, history is God's story, and we all have a responsibility to make that story as big and beautiful and boundless as possible. We all have a responsibility to God and to existence itself to contribute as much as possible to this wonderful story. But it's very, very important to understand the past, the present, and what the future could be and will be when we properly apply ourselves in the present, in the now. And that's what these men did, to build this mosque. They knew that they were creating something not just for themselves, but for the ages beyond them, for the eons beyond them. And even now, we're grateful. Even now, they still contribute to the present.
Okay, so now let's continue the discussion and let's get a little deeper into the meaning of certain philosophy, certain doctrines that are imposed upon you, and certain more true realizations that you and one may interface with when interacting with the world and visiting some of these, grand historic sites which are everywhere, or just start to learn some real history for themselves. I think it would be good to note the fake history that just nullifies and separates from any grandest story, and the true history, which is the grandest story. I think we can get into that more. I am currently in Istanbul, as I've noted previously, former Constantinople, former Byzantium, which is a pretty powerful place. The most layered history, the place with the greatest layered history that I've ever come in contact with. This is the Hagia Sophia, now a grand mosque, but formerly a very grand church that was so-called built during the Roman Byzantine era by Theodosius, I believe. or Constantine. Do you know that? Do you know who built the Hagia Sophia, Jake?
Nope. Fortunately not.
Well, just built during the Roman Byzantine time period, so called. But here's the issue with a lot of these ancient sites. Now it's a mosque, right? Before that, it was a church in the Roman period, in the Judeo-Roman period, Judeo-Christian Roman times. But what was it before then? And for how old is a structural foundation that many other reconstruction has been built on top of it. How old is it? It's shrouded in mystery, and you just keep going back. And the peoples that occupy this land, where this significant building is are the wisest, most powerful empires that we have ever known, that we write about in history. They form the basis of modern um, mathematics and principles of measuring time, and forming our basis of existing in the modern world. All basis of science, chemistry, all these alchemical principles come from this land, right? And it just, when you go farther and farther back in history, you see symbols that represent these mathematical meanings. So it's really just mysterious for how old human intelligence and ingenuity is. And it gets the older you get, it gets more and more almost grand and godly. And that's the greatest story of humanity, which includes this notion of God, which includes this notion of something even greater than what it means to be human on this earth, something alien almost. But you need to understand the psyop is the separation between you and some sci-fi alien concept. The real aliens, are not that crazy, and not that much science fiction. When you look into that, it's really just a greater kind of existence beyond this earth, right? Or beyond this
Yeah,
spatial, physical, limited dimension.
we are the aliens. All the intelligence agencies, the CIA, the FBI, all these three-letter agencies, and the men in black believe, when they know that we have parts of our DNA that come from alien genetics, an alien DNA base, and some of us have more alien DNA than others, but it's basically been confirmed. And we see like the disclosure stuff. There's that Steven Spielberg movie that's coming out that everyone's talking about. How they're kind of they're letting people, they're like titrating the dose of the truth, slowly. But yeah, I mean, really, what our real history is so much more grand and fantastical than any author or any genius could ever conceive of, could ever make up. Reality is so beautiful in that way, so amazing. And the truth, the truth is the truth is everything, bro. And we need to find it. We need to find out.
The
And
truth, the truth is stranger than fiction.
the truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh no! Look at
That's
these guys with cool guns,
yeah.
big guns.
It's funny. They're
Huh.
looking at you.
Yeah, they're like, no, 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 buddy, don't fool me. You're about to get shot.
Yeah.
Nah, they wouldn't do that. They're just pretty much there to for show. But it's a cool position to be in, standing there with a gun in your suit, looking militant and tactical as fuck.
A lot of guys, but they always front. I noticed these guys in these suits with these guns. They always kind of like puff their chests out and shit, and act like they're tough. Anyways, they always get sized up by these guys. But
Life is legendary, and more legendary than any so-called Spielberg kind of,
Yeah.
Spielberg written movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for the viewers, how how do you kind of want to describe that ancient history, the real history?
Here's how I'll describe it. Just know that my description is of my relative light and my relative kind of knowing. I'm 21 years old. I have learned, as much as I have learned, and it's a pursuit that continues, right? So we speak upon, these principles, not proclaiming to know it all, right? We know what we know. I'm grateful to know it, and I'm grateful to pursue it. And that's the conversation. Anyone to proclaim that they know all that has ever existed,
Yeah.
like you can suss out like that maybe that person isn't entirely, you know, the most truest, like
Genuine.
they don't know the greatest story because that it's like it lasts for generation after generation after generation. And in order to truly know the greatest extent that you could know in a single lifetime, you must be kind of initiated into these mystery schools. And that's how it still exists today. There are mystery schools that initiate people, you know, uh,
Yeah.
with certain alchemical doctrines, alchemical philosophy.
Yes.
And those are the people that kind of like hold this technology, and it like gets very secretive for who has the technology, who knows, who is allowed to know, right? Who
Knowledge is
who who is
power.
allowed to know? You know?
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is more important than money when it comes to influence and power. If you know the right things, then you can create the right outcomes, right? If you know how to create a UFO, you can travel to any location in the world and really do whatever you want and have complete freedom with that. If you know how to, create free energy, you can build a city on your own. So yeah, and these secret schools have been kept secret for a very, very good reason. They believe that if the public, if the general population ever got a hold of this information, then it would be completely over for their agenda or for their goals, which are beginning to seem increasingly more insidious, right? More increasingly more evil and satanic. So maybe it's time the public does know. Maybe it's time that, you know, people are brung into the light instead of being kept in the dark.
Yeah, the illusion that uh, all the masses are to know is just darkness is completely flawed, and that's a demonic imposition to just subjugate you into a state of mental and spiritual slavedom where you will never know, you will never even pursue to know, and the knowledge is just kept away and hidden. The real truth is that the knowledge is everywhere and the knowledge is free, right? You don't need to pay anyone, or you don't need to sell your soul to the devil in
The
order to
knowledge
learn
has been
just
decided.
some basic things.
Yeah, the motifs are everywhere, right? They're in stories, they're in fiction, they're in symbols, they're in our basic behavior. A child knows what is right from wrong because it's not some kind of subjective thing. Right and wrong is the prerogative of God to stay next to God or to stray from God, right? To embrace your divine self, to embrace your soul, or to embrace your physical beast nature and descend into evil and go away from God. So it's not something that you need to, you know, join a secret society or even join a religion. Like, you don't need to become a devout Muslim to understand these concepts. You just need to have the mind to look, the eyes to see. And like you always say, if you listen to nothing, you will learn everything.
Yes, yes. And if you really, really listen to nothing, then you understand that everything is there. Everything is there.
Yeah,
And that if anyone were to tell you anything less, like that is to listen to some sort of lesser version of all that is true. And all that is true is omnipresent and it's there for everyone to know. So for us all to just open our mind's eye, our spiritual mind, our spiritual pursuit, like we'll find clairvoyance, peaceful, heavenly pursuit. It's always there. It's always been there. And any illusion that, it's that someone is holding that, and it's for you to follow someone in order to, to achieve it, like that's just a lesser version of a truest principle. Like it's knowledge is everywhere, right?
yeah,
And sure, some people are on their relative path. I'm on my relative path. I know all that I know. It's just I pursue my grandest knowing.
yeah. And this is something I've spoken about with my brother a lot because he's well. I don't know how much you want to talk about him specifically, but basically the church uses the centralization of knowledge to gatekeep and control and kind of like in a pyramid scheme system keep people in their respective place while the people at the top move all the pieces like people are just pawns on a chessboard. So they use the centralization and the compartmentalization of knowledge to create kind of these insidious tyrannical systems. When when we distance ourselves from those systems, right, and we simply just listen to nothing, because the knowledge is out there, like you say, the knowledge is out there for everyone. Not only can we find the truth, but we can also distance ourselves from the powers that be that are keeping us down and confined and limited.
Yeah, yeah. If you just move away from all the distraction, you'll find that it's everything is there for you. Everything is there for you. So listening to nothing means to listen to everything and to not be and to not be distracted by any lesser version of the thing. That's the principle. So that's a great preface. That's a great introduction to the story. And that's a really great principle for us all to kind of like be unified in that, kind of like grandest pursuit. It's for everyone. It's not even just for humans. It's for all spirits that are just pursuing. And everything has spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Spiritual
God
energy
is
is
in everything.
channeled, and you can channel the spiritual energy, or you can be channeled by,
Yeah,
some some other like some something that is directing you, right?
that's the concept of sin. Sin is the only thing that sin is something that's directing your energy into something that's lesser, right? Lust is directing your sexual energy into something lesser. Greed is directing your energy into something that is lesser and physical. That's what sin is. So channel, like the buildings, right? Like these mosques, like these temples. You need to channel your energy into the right places. And you can only do that when you distance yourself from sin and then direct it into the real path, the path towards infinite potential, the path towards God. And we see in society, our energies are constantly being directed with fucking YouTube shorts, with these stupid algorithms, with porn, with drugs, with you know everything, everything.
Yeah, yeah. If you succumb to this parasitical, like demonic imposition, like it eats at you. It really does. Like it eats
Yeah,
at you, and it's just I hate to say it, but some people are just like trained to have a tolerance for this parasite that just feeds off of your energy, feeds off of someone's energy, and it's like so much like parasitical tendencies are just like in a lot of so-called conventional ways of living in the modern world. Like your thoughts are not even your own. And, like some people's thoughts are not even their own, like in some sort of distorted way, where they just their emotions are influenced by what they're watching, and they don't even know what they're watching. They're just waiting for the next thing. And if
Yeah.
you're just waiting for someone to tell you what to do, like you're just being shuffled around. You're that pawn, and what do the pawns do in a game of chess? Like what do ants do? Like they're treated kind of as disposables, really. Like, but if you want to master like the greatest game of chess, which has infinite outcomes, right? Really, then the pawn can become, the greatest piece when when it moves to the end of the board, right?
Exactly.
So no matter what piece you are, like a pawn can behave as the most powerful piece, right? If it knows that it leads forth in that direction.
Yeah. Get to the end of
Just
the
get
board.
past all the parasite mind virus, kind of like just parasitical tendencies, the demonic imposition. Get past that. Just you know shed away all the parasitical tendencies. There's a great video that was just posted by Library of the Untold that goes deep into just the parasite, which is the demonic imposition. And it's just like, it's like makes your skin crawl. It really makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
I posted, I think, a short of like a longer video that he posted, but he really goes deep into how just like, like just these demonic parasites. And, it's not something to be afraid of. It's like you don't run away from a demon, because if you run away from a demon, then the demon chases you, right?
Mhm.
If you confront a demon, like the demon just melts away into dust, right? The demon is just, that
You ever
which
see it?
feeds off of you. Yeah, yeah. We talked about this before.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah. It's really good. It's a really, because people have watched that movie, but at the end of the movie, if you haven't watched it, Pennywise, the people who are listening, they just stop care. They're just stop being afraid of Pennywise, and then he like fucking combusts. He like combusts on the spot. But yes, it's just don't give you energy, because what a demon is just something that is trying to siphon your energy, because they're like these lesser beings who who can't like you know provide for themselves or whatever, and they need to suck you, and then they seduce these elites into making the world into a certain way that promotes these low vibrations that they fucking feed off of, right? Which is probably what the Library of the Untold video goes into.
Yeah, yeah. Any listener who wishes to understand, like, the real, kind of like horrific kind of parasitical just virus that exists, that people just get desensitized to. Like just watch that video. I think that does a great job of explaining. Just these are some lions from the Hittite period around this area, and lions symbolically, exude just a majestic power. And you see a lot of these grand temples and structures even today garnished with lions, all the way back to the late Hittite period of around the 8th century BC, which is almost like 3,000 years ago. You have lions carved out of stone. So I'm introduced to the Istanbul Archaeology Museum here by these two lions. And just symbolically, that has a pretty pretty interesting meaning, just like the animal of a lion, the spirit of a lion, the meaning of a lion. Not only lions, but other big animals just have some deep esoteric spiritual meanings. I think it's interesting to note that you see that everything in the old world is made out of stone, and it's powerful. It's powerful. You look at stone, and you know that even if you tried really hard to destroy a stone, like it lasts. It lasts for a
Yeah.
really long time. To note, yeah, like the old world is like built on stone foundations. Stone foundations. You know, you cut out of solid stone, stones that have been there for hundreds of thousands of years, even millennium. I mean, like even millions of years, right? The formation of stones on this earth, stones exist for a really long time, and they will exist for a really long time,
Yeah.
right?
The longest
So
lasting
now, yeah,
structure is
yeah.
always stone.
So why don't we build things out of stone now, right? If we think about mass cataclysms that, you know, mass cataclysms have happened throughout Earth's history, and stone remains, right? Everything else washes away. Everything else washes away, but stone remains. So I'm keen on utilizing some of the architectural methods of old in constructing out of stone, because I know it lasts longer and stronger, and you're to just build greater things overall out of stone. Here are some stone pieces right in front of me. You have,
I second that. I second that. You know, I want
yeah, yeah.
when I create my company, I want all my buildings to be made out of stone, and then to you know, fulfill the divine geometry of like the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio and all these things that we maybe like architects. A lot of architects just think it's aesthetic, but no, it's beyond aesthetic. It's mathematical to achieve a certain frequency, a certain aura in the architecture. All these pieces are beautiful, man.
Yeah, they say that these are tombs, stone tombs from
Yeah,
the Byzantine era. Um, but what is a tomb? What is a tomb? Just the 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 esoteric meaning of sarcophagi, like sarcophaguses, like gets pretty deep.
yeah.
Right here, this is a sarcophagus from the Byzantine era. It
The
says
Egyptians.
Alexandros, son of Dion, lived for 65 years, and his daughter Alexandria lived for 18 years. Alexandros, son of Alexandria, lived for 6 months.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, everyone's named after Alexander the Great.
what a great man, right?
Yeah,
His
I
name
saw
is written in
fucking
stone
Torah that
thousands
I had.
and thousands of times.
Yes. Yeah.
These
But
sarcophaguses last.
dude, the Egyptians believe that if you know the pharaohs would like kill all their servants and like have all their gold and all this food, and they would put them in the tomb with their sarcophagus because they believed that they would get all that in the afterlife. So it's very interesting. Is that Medusa?
Yes, this is Medusa's head, as we can see here. Medusa and the story of Medusa is very meaningful. You see Medusa in represented in a lot of stonework throughout Rome, throughout the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. The story of Medusa is older than Rome, um, right? Like it comes from Greek mythology, where you
Yeah.
have the pantheon, the Olympian pantheon, uh, and Perseus killing Medusa Like, what does that signify? It signifies the, kind of like the corrupt, evil feminine archetype where her hair is just like snakes. And, you got to think there's some bitches that exist nowadays who embody the Medusa archetype, right? This soul sucking essence that, draws men in only to turn them to stone, right? And what do you see nowadays? Where women are put on a pedestal, but women just turn these men to stone, they turn them to dust, right? It reduces the men to their limited sexual desires, which are just dust.
Yeah, yeah.
And Medusa, embodying that archetype, has turned many, many men to dust.
I like that.
Right. So you must conquer Medusa. You must conquer Medusa in the modern, age, right? If you see just you know, like if there's a woman in your life that feeds off of you, that that like what you are giving to her is just like you're giving it away. And she doesn't appreciate that. Women have a powerful potential when they work in union with men. Powerful potential, and that can be used for a great pursuit or great demise, right? Medusa, the story of Medusa has a lot of symbolic meaning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, God knows that's my fucking curse. The curse of Medusa. Yeah. You just you just enjoy the company of a woman a little too much. But yeah, it's a big thing
Holy
nowadays.
shit! Look at this.
Oh no, he just froze.
This looks to be a Nephilim.
We can't see anything.
Can you
Oh,
see? Can you
oh,
see?
now we can see it. Now we can see it.
Wow! Look at how big this man is, juxtaposed to this lion here, this big cat. And this says this is Bess from the 7th to 6th century BC. And this was found in Cyprus, I guess.
Interesting.
Um, here we have a depiction of a giant, and these men of old, these giants, are half god, half man. Um, they are chaotic. They have an insatiable appetite, but they also have some godly genetics, which can be used to build great things, and potentially some of these great structures, antediluvian structures, and even after the deluge, like in the post-flood era, which we currently live in now. Giants may have contributed to the construction of some of these grand stone structures. And they probably look like this guy here. Big beard, big features, big eyes. And I'm sure if this was decorated as it was originally built, the eyes would probably be blue.
Yep. Yep.
Blue or green.
There's a lot that the government doesn't tell us, and when it comes to big people, you start to see a pattern. All these big bones being put away, being found in like the 1800s, the 1900s, and then being kept secret and stuff. And then there's also like these gigantic people that we don't hear about. Recently, I watched a podcast with Devin Larratt, and he was talking about how he saw this big ass dude in Afghanistan, in the region of Kandahar, where the legend of the Kandahar giant was had. And then there was also these big Cree people up in northern Canada, in the Montreal area, and like these kind of alien like gigantic genetics are still around a little bit.
To talk about, uh, you'll find that in the old world, precious metals were coveted always. They still are coveted, right? But um, things were dipped in gold, uh, back in the ancient world, gold was used for technological means. And alchemical principles will show that they do show that gold and other precious metals and alloys can be used for, to channel and direct and transduce energy in a certain way, right? We know that alloys today are used in all modern electronics. Alloys can conduct energy, right? And gold especially has some really powerful means of transducing energy. So it's something to look into for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the legend of the Anunnaki, one of the most ancient civilizations in the world, ancient Sumeria, they say that the Anunnaki came to Earth originally to look for gold so that they could use their gold to uh, affect the atmosphere on their home planet. And the ancient Celts, they would always walk around with gold. Everyone would have like this gold jewelry, and the more gold you had, the higher status that you were. And what is that from? Is it just because we like this yellow kind of metal, or is it because you know the alien gods that came down to you know to Earth because they revered gold and they valued it?
Yeah, yeah. Gold has an inherent value that's beyond just gold has um, gold has an inherent technological value, right?
Yeah,
And they say monoatomic gold was the elixir of life. If you study ancient Egyptian schools of alchemy, mystery schools, it is said that when gold is used in the right way, maybe just on the quantum level, um, it can have some powerful healing potential.
remember when I took monatomic gold for a little bit?
Well, here's the thing: any notion of monoatomic gold, nowadays is you're getting into some superficial space where there's modern mystics that try and capitalize on a grander, older concept. I believe that just similar to scalar waves, or anyone who says that they use Tesla's technology, like you gotta critically view that, because a concept such as monatomic gold, gold on the quantum level, gets very kind of like just like, in order to completely understand it and to use such a technology, like, you're going to deal with, rather than a specific substance, you're going to deal with a big technological process or technological processes that are just, not something that you can replicate just so easily and find on Amazon or something. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. It happens with almost all these technologies. The truth is there, but the people who know about the truth want to obscure it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I like to touch upon like a concept of like a bad connection, right? If you're in a cave, you are cut off from all kind of cellular communications, right? And that's important to know, because in a swarm of electromagnetic frequency, um, that can potentially be harmful, right? It can even cause cancer if you expose a vulnerable, sensitive area of your body to high amounts of electromagnetic frequency. And in order to cut off that that harmful potential for frequency, you got to think in ways of cutting off all means of exposure to any excess harmful electromagnetic frequency. That's why stone construction, encase yourself in stone or encase something in stone, you know that your energy is contained, free from any external influence, right? I don't respect certain globalist ideologies that wish to impose technology that could be potentially harmful upon the masses, as if I have no choice or my opinion has no value when it relates to certain technological means that are imposed upon me, right? Not only me, but you know, my wife, my elderly family, and my children potentially, right?
Mhm.
So without my consent, there's high amounts of electromagnetic frequency constantly uh, like all around me and flowing through my body, right? I choose to use my phone, which is a receiver and transmitter, but there's still going to be 5G towers whether I like it or not. um, Not only that, but I was saying, even if I escape 5G towers and go to the, like a very tall mountain peak where there's no 5G towers built, now via um, satellite, uh, satellite directed energy, right? Satellite electromagnetic frequencies, such as Starlink, um, all of the surface world is always, being beamed with these electromagnetic frequencies. So I don't respect that because that doesn't respect my, it goes against any religious freedom of protecting myself from kind of external stimulus.
Yeah.
Um, right
Yeah.
on the even if I can't see it, I know it's there, right? I know it's real.
Mhm.
That's why um that's why people can get high speed internet data now around the world thanks to Starlink. So that's a globalist imposition upon the masses that reduces my free will to just just another kind of like person who exists in this field of constant EMF exposure. I don't respect that, but you can protect yourself from that if you encase yourself in stone or transduce the energy around you, and then you're gonna reach that that much, like you're gonna be that much more clear of external stimulus. And when you're clear of external stimulus, that's how you connect with source consciousness. When you're free of all external stimulus, connect to source consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It absolutely does, and this is something that I've thought about it, but even more because there's also the neutrino radiation that comes from the sun that they've measured, and the only thing that can absorb the neutrino radiation is water. So both water and stone have special properties, in the context of electromagnetic frequencies, vortices, or neutrinos that all have an effect on our biology. And you get into astrology, what is astrology? There are actual like implications of the resonance condition in which you are born. So if you're born on a certain day, and with these certain signs, certain month, then it actually does have like an influence on your epigenetic expression, which is extremely interesting. But yeah, I completely agree, and I think for your business or your construction company, it'd be a smart move to use stone. Sure, especially with the bigger projects that you do.
Yeah, I will. I will. I keep that in mind. Thinking of bringing powerful means of production to market using all the best ways to construct and produce, and that would include stone.
Yeah, I know that whatever you
Um,
do, it's gonna be fucking top
yeah,
tier.
yeah, thanks. It's just it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of conscious, studious pursuit into learning how to manipulate matter. Alchemical pursuit for how you construct with stone. But there's huge potential for what you can build. The greatest empires were built from stone, as we just noted. So, on the topic of astrology, it's very significant to how we measure days and months and years and seasons. Everything about the world that we live in, the conditions of the world that we live in, uh, are influenced on an, uh, an astronomical level, on a cosmic level, where celestial bodies, as they're in certain relative position to you and the Earth, influence what goes on the Earth, what the weather's like, how hot it is, um, and not only the weather, but also just kind of energetically, because
Exactly. That's what
sunlight is energy.
that's
You
what I
know,
mean by resonance conditions. When we're born,
yeah,
we're in a stage of achieving resonance with our environment, and in that nascent stage, in that very very young stage, in which we are very suggestible, the energetic environment in which we are in, the frequencies, the electromagnetic fields, all of it, the neutrinos, all have a part to play on our behavior, and like I said, our epigenetic expression. So yeah, next time you talk to that fucking weird astrology girl with armpit hair and you know, maybe she's actually on to something.
yeah. Women are very sensitive, and you see
Intuitive.
a lot of women drawn to these grand concepts of astrological significance and things, and it's not just something to put down women for, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
anyone who's anointed to basic laws of physics and how the world works knows that there's something such as astrological significance she feels about these things. Don't listen to, kind of stupid conjecture, but really listen to the real human feminine sensitivity that can tap into feeling the energy that's always around us.
Yeah, and I know this sounds to most people, especially most people in the modern age, counterintuitive. But because science has become so corrupt, because they'll purport anything that um, is selective with the agenda. Because of that, because of the limitations of the scientific field, and not science itself, like the scientific method, just the people in science, the corruptible nature of the scientists. Because of that, you know, we need to rely on other sources, like female intuition, and women have a very very powerful kind of a kind of superpower to like feel out energies and You know, we all know this.
The women that I've known, uh, are all sensitive. I'm only attracted to women who are in touch with their divine feminine nature and utilize that in a productive, efficient way, right? And you can get into the demonic parasitical imposition, which trains women to want to be men and to, you know, give up their divine femininity and to become just a soulless droid. uh I reject that completely. I only include just, you know, I'm only close to women who respect their divine feminine power, work with that in a true light to uphold values of divine heavenly ordinance, right? So as I myself am working for divine heavenly ordinance, in my masculine form, like, I know that women are just going to work better with me, right? In their feminine form. And that's how men and women work well together. I should say that significant to cosmic bodies and the topic of astrological significance. The hippodrome in modern day Istanbul, which I just walked on the grounds of, uh, had games that incorporated uh, cosmic timing and celestial bodies into chariot races and the organization of how games were run. But these weren't even so much as just simple games. They were also tied to politics at the time. They were deeply integral to how society was run, and the Romans knew about the technological significance of um, cosmic ordinance, right? Cosmic timing, and that's how they examples. There's two pillars in this hippodrome. The hippodrome is a grand um, platform that where a lot of spectators watch grand games commence. There are two pillars, um, one of which, or maybe both, represent a solar sign, and it's aligned, I believe, uh, which has astronomical significance, astrological significance, cosmic significance, and uh, as the sun rises during the day and as the sun sets, there are games throughout the day. And there are 24 hours in a day, and there are 24 games in a day. There are 24 hours in a day, and in the hippodrome, there were 24 games in a day. There were 7 laps around the solar pillar. 7 laps around the solar pillar. There's also 7 zodiac signs that were also incorporated into the game. We Is that true? 7 zodiac signs? Or no?
I don't know.
I think I just know it was 7 laps, and there's 7 days in a week. And there are, rather than 7 zodiac signs, sorry, there are 7 astronomical signs, or just like significant alchemy, right? and probably chemistry and probably advanced technology. And they were all working synergistically, and it was integral to how society operated. It was deeply political. There were factions, and it gets very deep. So, like, this forms the foundation to how modern society works. It's how the empires of old um, ran their societies. It's very significant, and it's how we measure time and manipulate matter today. It's how the world works today. So if we look to the stars, if we look to how we measure things alchemically, then we can truly ascend with that knowing uh, of this cosmic significance. I'll also say that on the topic of technology, under former Byzantium, under Istanbul, there are all of these cisterns, and what these are channels underneath the city that connect all of the major structures via an underground network that also channeled water. It these chambers underground channel water all throughout the city, like
Aqueducts.
underneath me are these other than even aqueducts, like they're called cisterns, and water's constantly flowing, and there's technological means of harnessing energy from that water flowing. You can connect electricity from water flowing, and I believe that that is the true technological purpose of these cisterns, which you could find all throughout the city. It's pretty remarkable, and I'll look into it more. I went to one of the cisterns today. And just to finish this off in the last minute, if you can finish it off.
Um, I think that's good. That's perfect.
All right, great.
All right. Thanks, bro. Have a good day.